Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Belmont Park on Halloween, race number 7. This is the Grade 3 Bold Ruler Handicap. We'll take a look at the field, and this could be a really interesting prep race for something like the Cigar Mile later in the year. I'm sure that's the ultimate goal for the number 3 Plainsman, Mike. Looked good last time out going a one-turn mile at Churchill Downs, and I think he can handle the 7/8.
Yeah, I think he can too. I mean, they don't sprint this horse very often. They mostly keep him to a mile or longer. But I think you're right, Dan. He's got plenty of tactical speed, and this doesn't feel like a race that will necessarily be run at a blazing pace. So I doubt he gets outrun early.
And that pace scenario could help the 7, your morning line favorite, Wonder Where Craig Is. We take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. He's on a lead in a situation that could favor horses on or near the early lead, and this horse is pretty good. He is certainly fast. I think there is a little bit of a question about him getting the 7th furlong, but he was unlucky to be disqualified last time out in the De Francis, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at the replay of that in a little bit when we talk about this horse. I still have no idea why he was disqualified last time. But your other point's well taken. We'll see how fast he winds up having to go on the lead. I don't know that it'll necessarily be a slow pace, but it may not be that fast. And this horse does have to show that he can get to 7 furlongs.
A horse that could push the pace down inside. That's the one, Lil Commissioner, coming off a blowout win against 3 other than optionals. Let's watch that one-turn mile way back on January the 7th. And Little Commissioner got up close to the pace this day. He pulled away. He earned a 97 buyer. The connections had to be hoping for a big 6-year-old campaign, and he hasn't raced since.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he's missed all this time. He's always been very consistent since they finally started concentrating on dirt races with him, Dan. He's 4 for 6 on this surface since Rob Atras has taken over the training. I mean, he was in very good form the last time we saw him, and he has speed from the inside. So we'll see if he comes back a little bit fresh in this race and maybe gets forward.
Bal Harbour is my own personal siren song. I am captivated by him time and time again. He hasn't won in 3 years. A lot of close but no cigar finishes. I think he was second in the Woodward a couple of years ago. Let's watch his most recent race, Mike. I think you can look at the Governor's Day one of 2 ways. Here's Bal Harbour in between horses. The split's there, and the hole's going to close up on him. Is it because he's just not quick enough to get to the hole? All right, so he has to alter course and get to the outside. He still has a chance, doesn't he? And he doesn't get there.
Yeah. I think it was both of them. I think he had a chance to get through the hole and didn't make it. And then he just does what he always does and sort of tries to re-rally and couldn't quite get there. Listen, he's a really nice horse, and he tends to show up and run every time. He's pretty tough to take in a race like this. I guess if he's around the 12-1, I won't argue too much, Dan, but they're going to cut him back here to try something new with him. He's just one of those horses who's had so many chances and he never wins.
That's the question that I have to ask myself. How much money or more money do I have to lose on Bal Harbour? But 12-1 is somewhat interesting. He does have fast pack races. Plainsman has a fast recent race, a 100 buyer in the Grade 3 ACAC. He took down a very highly regarded horse in Bo Liam, and this is just a horse that shows up every single time.
Yeah, I mean, his merits are fairly obvious, especially, he's a horse who actually started out with a lot of potential. It felt like a few years ago for Shug McGahee and for Brad Cox at the beginning. He just lost his way a little bit for whatever reason. He never really panned out. It feels like more recently he's back in really good form for Brad Cox. He took a nice step forward last time. 7 furlongs, cutting back, an 1/8 of a mile for this race. Is it going to affect him? I'd be surprised if it does, but he is going to be a very short price in this race. And it's not like he's a total standout, Dan. I mean, his last race makes him tough. Other than that, he's not a total standout here.
The 4 drafted, multiple Group 3 winner in Dubai. He is stakes placed here in the States. He might appreciate a wet track, but he's the kind of horse to me that likes to make one run. And if the pace isn't fast, it could work against him.
Correct. This race may not set up well for him. And obviously, he's got to take, a pretty significant step forward as well. He's 0 for 5 since he arrived stateside, and he hasn't buyered out of the 80s yet. I will say that in his most recent race where they got him some class relief, that trip didn't really work out for him. He ran a lot better than it looks last time.
Wendell Fong also would appreciate a wet track. He's 3 for 4 on wet, 1 for 10 on dry. We haven't seen him since early March. Let's watch the Tom Fool Handicap, a race where, Chateau was in very good form at this point, and he just got away to an easy, uncontested lead. And Wendell Fong never stops trying in the stretch. He really grinds it out to be second. The layoff concerns me a little bit. I wonder if they're prepping for something a little bit longer down the road, or maybe sprinty down the road. You know that Chad Summers likes to go to races in Dubai.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. The layoff, I agree with you, is a major concern. He actually, I thought, ran well in that race. We just watched. He had no chance in there, but was really finishing at the end. And that race came off the heels of his fire plug at Laurel, where I thought he ran great, Dan. He had a lot of early trouble in that race, came wide and stormed through the stretch to win that race. I think this horse is good. He just needs the right trip in this race.
Continuation, the number 6, coming off a win at Colonial, scoring that day over a muddy track going a mile. He beat a couple of nice kind of optional claiming horses. Galario's a useful horse on the Mid-Atlantic circuit, but no one's going to mistake him for a graded stakes type horse. He has to prove it continuation against this type.
He really does, but he's another horse who I feel like maybe is finally starting to put things all together, Dan. He started out like he was going to be an okay horse early on. It took him a while to get to maiden win, but he finally got it. And now he's won 2 in a row on dirt. His last 2 figures on the main track are the fastest races he's ever run by far. I think this horse is getting better, and he's another horse who has some speed.
Wonder where Craig is. The 7 has finished first in his last 3 races, but was disqualified from this race. The DeFrancis Memorial, a grade 3 at Laurel. He showed his good tactical speed in a short field. He got the jump on Jalen Journey, turning into the stretch. And yes, he's going to get a little bit drifty at the end. I thought he was the best horse on the day.
Me too. I have no idea why they disqualified him here. That drift right there a little bit in front of Jalen Journey did not affect the outcome of this race at all. But they DQ'd him anyway. Yeah, I'm worried about the 7, if only because he does tend to drift late in his races. And obviously, when you see that the way he was finishing there in the DeFrancis, he wasn't finishing that strongly, Dan, going 6.
But Luis Saez will be aggressive on him, and I would expect him to make the lead. A matter of time, comes off a win against weaker horses. Let's watch that race at Parks, going 7 furlongs. There was a strong pace for him to rally into, and as we see, he's taken control, turning into the stretch, and he is on his way. This is a New Jersey bred who's been in the exactas 16 of 29. He's a very honest horse who just happens to catch a tough spot.
Yep, that's an easy win that we're looking at right now. Cutting back in distance, that was on about 8 days rest. Prior to that, he had run here at Belmont Park and couldn't get it done against 40 claimers, Dan. He's in good form, I guess, right now, but this is a tough spot.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the grade 3 Bold Ruler Handicap. How much more money do I want to lose on Bal Harbour? A little bit more, just a little bit more. Enough trouble last time out to make me think that maybe there's still something there. But boy, I'm starting to lose a lot of faith. 2137 for me. Wendell Fong from Off the Pace, Mike. Can he stay close?
I don't know. I mean, he showed plenty of speed earlier on in his career to be able to do that. So I'm hoping he doesn't get too far outrun here. I just liked I know it's a layoff, Dan, he has to deal with. I liked his form before he went away. And I just feel like he's going to be a fair price in here. Not way against Plainsman. I guess he's the horse to beat. But I want to try Wendell Fong here.
5374 for Mike, 2137 for me. It's the Bold Ruler, the feature race at Belmont on Sunday. Good luck.